Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us again for our daily Devos. Today we're in Matthew chapter 5, verses 27 through 32. So we're still in the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus is talking about how you have heard it said. And he's speaking to the people saying, you have heard it said that, and he most often is referring back to the 10 Commandments. And in this one, he says, you've heard that it was said not to commit adultery. But I say that if anyone looks on someone lustfully, they've already committed adultery in their heart. And then he says, if you do that, then you need to, if your eye offends you, gouge it out. If your hand offends you, cut it off. And he's not saying to actually hurt yourself. What he's saying is, go ahead and get rid of anything that offends heaven. He says it's better to go into heaven with just part of your body than all of it. That's what he literally says in these verses. But what he means by that is, cut out anything that is causing you to sin. Cut out anything. Take it deeper. This is not about the outward action. This is about the condition of the heart. This is about what you set your gaze on, you will go towards. When I was a little girl, my dad had this habit when he was driving the car, and he loved to look off the road at houses or other things. And more often than not, my mom would have to reach over and tap him and remind him to focus on the road, because wherever he looked, gradually the car would slow down, but it would also just veer off the road. So what he was gazing at was what he was going towards. And that can be a dangerous position to be in. What Jesus is saying here is, put your eyes on Jesus. Put your eyes on Christ. Put your eyes on heaven, on God. And when he talks about gouging out the eye or cutting off the hand, you can think of it like cutting out the thing that's in your heart that is corrupting you. The word adulterated means to corrupt, debase, or make impure. And we already heard in the first part of this chapter that the pure in heart will see God. When we adulterate that, we can't see God. We're allowing other things into our lives, and we're thinking, how close can I skirt to the edge before I fall off? But what Jesus is saying here is, don't think about how close you can get to the edge. How close can you get to sin before it becomes a problem? More importantly, how close can you get to God? Anything that gets in the way of your closeness to God and to who he can make you to be, and the purity and the fruit of the Spirit that Paul talks about in Galatians chapter 5, that's what he's saying focus on. Put your gaze on him. Later, he's going to say that the eye is the lamp of the body. And what we let in is what we're going to pursue. So make sure that what you're looking at, what you're longing for is Jesus. What you're longing for is God. Because what these things lead to is separation. It leads to what he talks about in the last few verses. It leads to divorce. Divorce is not God-pleasing. It's hurtful. It's painful. And what he's saying is, honor these covenants first in your heart. First in your heart. Now, he has grace and he forgives when you miss the mark. But when you do, learn from that. Focus in on him. Let him purify your heart and purify your mind, as James talks about. So Willowbrook, as you go through these verses, let it challenge you. These are not always easy things to hear, but these challenges are for our good. They are to convict us and to bring us closer to God, away from the edge, away from temptation, away from what can do us harm, and closer to God, where we will find his purpose and his holiness and his purity. What causes us to have purpose and direction that honors him. Thank you for joining us. Continue joining us tomorrow morning at 7:30. Have a great day.